Janess. I'm a mom of 4, and I'm going to tell you my tips and tricks on how to feed a fresh eater who is very picky. And when I say very picky, I mean they have sensory issues. They do not want the food in their mouth. They do not want to swallow the food. The food experience is to them. And I'm going to tell you what I did for my first child, and now he eats everything that we give him, almost. So step 1 is you want to make sure that you find nutritious food, and you want to find 3 nutritious food options that your kid will tolerate, because they will tolerate food. Some kids eat french fries and chicken nuggets and hot dogs, but you want to steer away from that, because if you just get them on that train from the start because they won't eat, that's what they're going to eat for the rest of their childhood, and that's not always the best choice, and it's not expanding their palates. So step 1, find 3 very nutritious foods that your kid will eat, even if it means going to Whole Foods, spending extra money, whatever it is, you got to find those foods. So for my son Brady, it was veggie burgers, papaya, and he would eat scrambled eggs. Okay, so those 3 things. You're thinking, my kid will never ever eat this. Okay, you have to start from the beginning, when they're like 12 months old, 15 months old. Now, he would not eat the food 12 months old. You put it in his mouth, he'd spit it out. He refused, nothing. Finally, at 15 months old, I used those foods. The way that I found out is maybe he wanted to eat them off my plate or something like that, or maybe he liked the smell of them, but it was repetitive introduction to those foods, like giving him those foods. It's nap time for our baby. So give the 3 foods. So step 2 is distract. It's so important that you distract them while they're eating, those very picky eaters who will not eat food. So you distract them as much as possible while they're eating, because so this is what I would do with Brady. He was 15 months old. Oh, no. 15 months old, 18 months old, and I would sit there while he played, and I would stick the food in his mouth, which brings me to rule number 3 for feeding a very picky eater, which is the cheek trick. You take the food and you put the food inside of his cheek, and that way it's harder to spit out, and if there is a sensory issue on the tongue, they are not experiencing that. So you do it in the cheek. Every few minutes when the baby's playing with the toy, play with your toy, you take the food and you just stick it in the cheek. So that's a very important thing I would do, and it was very time consuming. It wasn't easy, but I sat there and I did it every single day, every single meal, because I knew it was very important for him to eat. So that brings me to the next thing, is once his palate starts expanding, and once you can introduce a few more foods, and once they're old enough to start watching TV, instead, if you need this time for the distraction, you do the TV trick, which is, now they're eating themselves. You don't have to stick it in their cheek anymore, but you don't want them playing while they're eating. You will set them in front of the TV and give them the food to eat, and they will maybe eat it. And this is as they get older. So you did the cheek trick while they played. You have the foods. Now you give these foods and in front of the TV. It is a hard journey with a kid who does not like food, who does not want to eat anything. It is hard because there are really unhealthy processed foods that I can give my child instead, but I mean, it's definitely a fight. So that is some of what we did to finally get our kid to finally eat. And we offered the same foods, healthy foods all the time, always introducing new foods. Now I'm going to give you some extra tips, 3 extra tips. Tip number 1. Oh no, you're getting it stuck in Mama's hair. Oh no. Okay. Step number 1 is give fruits and vegetables, especially raw vegetables. Is that something fun? Yeah. Give raw vegetables all the time, like throughout the day, whenever, like offer it to them as like before they eat, before they do anything, okay? Number 2. Yeah, you're a good girl, aren't you? I don't want you to eat plastic, though. I don't want you to eat plastic. This little girl loves food. I don't want you to eat plastic. How can I get this from you without you crying? Let me see. I'm going to get it from you. Is that your tired laugh? Okay, I'll give you something else. Yeah, there we go. I know. Okay, so offer vegetables, like raw vegetables throughout the day, especially before they eat other foods, okay? Because that's really good for them. My tip number 2 is buy the same foods. Like, that's what you give them, the same nutritious foods. And tip number 3 is if you guys want to eat as a family, eat together wherever you are. You don't have to eat at a table. And I know that maybe that's something that you don't want to give up, and that's something that was like, my family's going to eat together sitting down. If you have a really picky eater, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. And I'm not talking about kids who are just being defiant. I'm talking about little babies who really don't want to swallow the food. And it's hard to see as a mom. But know that if you put the time in, that you can reap the benefits. And I find that with everything I do parenting wise. There are easy way outs, and I'm not going to say easy way outs, but I'm going to say there are ways that make the process go by faster, but you might have to pay for it in the future. So for example, if you're giving your kid like mac and cheese and you know, the yellow foods, mac and cheese, chicken nuggets, whatever, yes, it's going to satisfy them